Okay, we are back. We are going to do a little bit of work on our pine cone here. We're going to starch this out, and while it is drying, we are going to make the second part of this little project, and I'll show you what that is. That is the tassel that's going to go on the bottom. Bump you down, there you go. This tassel will go on the bottom of our pineapple. So we're going to starch this out. You don't have to go out and buy anything special. If you have white glue, that's all you need. White glue and some water. I use Elmer's. So I'm just going to try and get the top off. You don't need a lot for one project. You want to mix the white glue and water till it gets to the same consistent, I can't speak, till it's like milk, the thickness of milk. Not cream, but milk. So I'm not going to make a whole lot because I'm just going to be starching this one thing. So I don't measure anything. I never do when it comes to this. When I do a lot of starching, I used to just buy Stiffy. It's already mixed, but all Stiffy is white glue and water, really. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of water, probably more than I should have. And I'm just going to use my finger to get the glue all wet. I should have brought, I have some popsicle sticks that I could have used, but I don't have. So see, it's just like milk. It's very runny. That's as good as you want it. Make sure all the thicker glue is, and it's very runny. It's just like milk. I hope you can see that. So I'm going to pop this in there now. Sometimes it is better to wet your piece first, but I didn't do that. So I just make sure I run it in there a couple of times, squeeze it, just put it in, squeeze it. Just make sure it gets really good and saturated into the fiber of the thread. Give it one last squeeze. And then you want to put it on some kind of a board that is covered with saran wrap because you don't want to get this sticky stuff all over. So what I do is, after I've done that, I just kind of play with it, stretch it a little bit before I even put it on the board. Just sort of work the stitches around, even them out. And now I can put it on the board. I use an old macrame board that I have. I have several of these because I used to do a lot of macrame back in the time. And actually, this light that's attached to this is really reflecting, isn't it? I can't do anything about that. So now I need to use some pins to pin it. I'm just going to wipe my hands off. You're not going to leave this for a long time. So if you only have stainless steel pins, that is the best thing that you can use, is stainless steel pins, but they're kind of hard to find now. So I do have stainless steel pins because I've done so much of this over the years. And my pins are actually quite sticky. You might get a bit of rust if you don't use stainless steel pins, but I don't think I would worry about it. So I'm just going to put one pin at the top and one pin here at the bottom. That's not where they're going to stay. I'm just doing the initial stretch. And then you're going to pin out all these little chain 5s here. That's what these little things are, is chain 5. So that's where I start to pull. I have a better board than this. This one is quite hard. And I'm going to go every other one first. And you just keep playing with it until you get it even. Yeah, this board is really hard. My other one is much more porous. It's a better one. You just play with it until you get it the way you want it. I'm actually having a hard time seeing this because the light is reflecting back on me. So pin it out to whatever shape you want. If you want it not so fat and longer, just do how you want it to look. There's no right, no wrong way. It's hard on the hands. It doesn't take all that long actually to dry. You can help it along if you want with a hair dryer. I don't bother. I just let it. I usually, if I was doing a whole bunch of stuff, I would usually just leave it overnight to dry. I find that works just fine. So just play with it, pin it how you want it, and then leave it pinned on the board overnight, or for at least, I would say, 6 hours or so. You're going to try and want to get your chain 5 loops sort of even eventually. Oops. I think I'm going to have to get my other board. This one is very unforgiving. So I'm going to play with this. I'm going to turn off the light. I'm going to turn off the camera and the light because I can't really see what I'm doing. I'm getting such a shine back from this. But I will show it to you after I've got it all pinned. And then we're going to move on to doing the tassel. Okay, it's time to make the tassel to go with our pineapple. I'm going to use the same thread, of course. And I think I got to bring you down a little bit more. So the tassel is really easy. It's just a little round section. I've got a bead inside of it, and just a bunch of cut thread. So we're going to start off by chaining 5, chain 5, make our slip knot. And we're going to chain 5. And slip to the first stitch and make a ring. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work 9 half double crochets into that little hole there. So we'll chain 2, a half double crochet is a thread over the needle, put your thread in, pull a thread up, and then you pull all through all 3 of those. So we have to do that 8 more times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put my thread over here. 7, 8, 9, and with the first chain 2, that makes 10. So we don't have to join, we're just going to keep going round and around and around and around. So for this first round, we're going to do 2 half doubles in each chain. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this will be our first one. This is the top of the chain 2. And we're going to do 2. Oops, I missed it. I didn't get the front loop. There we go, the front and the back. There we go. So that's 1, 2. So we're going to do 2 in each of the 10 loops. So we'll end up with 20. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to do 1 double in each stitch around, and we're going to do that for 4 rows or 4 rounds. I've got my little paper here, so I'll just keep going. I'm going to cut this part off because I've already caught it in there, so it doesn't bother me. I'm just going to cut that off of there. There we go. So we'll just count to 20 and mark it as a round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's 1 round. 3 more. Oops. One, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's 2 rounds. So I'm going to do the other 2 off camera just to save time for the video, and I'll come back to you when I've finished the other 2 rounds. Okay, I've done all my little rounds, and I've got a nice little cup here. So you can either stuff it with some stuffing, any kind of stuffing if you have. You could even roll up a little ball of paper and put it in there if you don't have anything. On this one, I used a bead, and I'm going to use another bead. And I'd like to introduce you to my favorite container in the studio. Oh, isn't that glorious? Oh, it just gives me goosebumps when I open this up. So this is what I used on this one, but it's actually a little bit too small. So I think I'm going to try a bigger bead this time. This one might be a bit too big. Yeah. Maybe this one would be better. Oh, it's perfect. Because we still have to go around and do our yeah, that's much better than the first one was. So you can use a bead. If you have a little tiny styrofoam ball, you could put that in there. You could use some batting, some fiber fill, some paper, roll it up, keep rolling it into a little ball. You can use make a ball out of crochet cotton and stick it in there. You can, whatever, it doesn't matter, just so long as you fill the space. Bye-bye, sweet stuff. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to, with this inside of it, we are going to now do a decrease. We're going to do a half double crochet in every other, no, we're not going to do that. Excuse me. You're going to do a half double crochet in 2 stitches. So you're going to do that, go in, pick up, and go in, pick up, and go all the way through it. At least that's how I do it. I don't think you should have done the first one. Maybe it's a way to do it, but that's how I do it. And then go all the way through all of them. So what you're doing is you're doing 2 in 1. Okay, so you're going to loop over, go through the first one, loop it through, go through the second one, loop it through, loop over, and pull all the way through. Where am I? Whoops. A little harder doing it with something in it. But it is doable. So at the end of this, you should have 10 stitches left. Maybe I'm doing it different each time I do it. Isn't that crazy? That's better. Does it really matter? We're talking about a tassel here. I think this is the way it should have been done to begin with. No looping over till the end. But who knows? Just want to make sure I get both. Did I get both? I don't think I got the first one, the back loop. Just want to make sure you get both loops. There we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nine. And 10. So we're going to end this now, and we're going to work on the fringe. So we're going to pull this, it'll come through, there we go, and cut it. I'm going to cut it quite long, and you'll see why in a minute. And I'm going to tie a knot. So now we're going to cut our tassels. We'll just leave that there. And I just used something, because you're gonna cut 30 tassels, 30 threads, and then you're going to be folding them in half. So what I did was I used my iPad. I just went around it. This is, let me see, 10 inches. So that way you're doing two at a time. You don't have to wrap 30 times. You only have to wrap 15 times. So that's what I'm going to do again. I'm going to start my thread at the top here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. I'm going to do one more just because maybe I didn't count so good. And I'm going to cut it here. Pull that back up here. Now I'm going to cut it at each end. So I'm going to just snip it in here. Not great for the iPad, I don't think, but I'm not hurting it any. I just have to take it off of here. I can't see what I'm doing. Well, that didn't work out as good as it did the first time. So what I'm going to do is just I'm going to line them all up and cut them in half. A piece of cardboard would have been a better idea, but I don't happen to have a piece of cardboard here at the moment, so there's a little fly in here. So this is why I got to this state. Go away, fly. You're not wanted. I don't know about this short piece. Where'd that come from? Okay, so now I'm just going to fold them in half and cut them again. Okay, so we got our 30 pieces. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 pieces at a time. We're going to fold it in half so we have a loop. And we're going to take our little ball here, and starting at one of the chains, we're going to put it in, catch our loop, pull it through, and then bring it through. And we're going to do that all the way around on all of our 10 loops, so 3 at a time. I do love making tassels. There's so many different ways of making tassels. This is just one way, but I do love this. 3, fold it in half, get your little loop, put it through both loops, and there we go. This is very relaxing. I don't really mind if these aren't all exactly even, because you're going to trim them at the end either, just so it's relatively the same. This makes me think of when I was making little crochet dolls. This was sort of how I put the hair on them. I would do a head much like this, and then I would put the hair on much like this. This little doll that I showed you that was sitting on the Santa Claus was made just like this. Almost identical procedure as this. Oops, come back here. Oh. It helps to kind of twist this a little before you pull it through. I don't know if you can hear Christmas music. You might not be able to catch that. Gary's playing the organ downstairs, and he's playing the first Noel. He's the organist of the family. But I shut at the bottom of the stairs coming up to the studio. Here is a bedroom, so I shut the door because I didn't know how loud it would be for the video to pick up. Okay, we're getting there. Oops. And when you have all 10 of these on here, all 10 stitches with a tassel in them, then you're going to cut a 19-inch piece of crochet cotton, and you're going to wind that around the tassel to secure everything in. Now what happened to my loops? They got all messed up here. A couple more. You can put more in it too if you want. You want more tassel. Nothing stopping you from putting 6 strands in if you want. If you think that your tassel is not going to have enough oomph. Hook go. You can put more. There's one here. I find it easier if I just twist a little. I got something to hold on to. Put a little tension on it. And I think I got one more to go. Yep. So how did I end up with... Oh, I did do extra, didn't I? That's right, I did. Just in case. There, I got 4 on this one. No matter. And I left that as well where I tied the knot because that'll work its way into the tassel part. You don't have to worry about it. You won't see it. Gary supposedly was making pizza tonight. I think he forgot. Okay, so we have all our tassel pieces on now. So now we have to cut a nice long piece. These pieces aren't quite long enough. So 19 inches is 16, 17, 18, 19. I'll try it that way. And what I do is I take the end and I just lay it on top of here. And then start wrapping. Give it, oops, don't give it that hard of a pull. Hold it nice and tight and start wrapping, and wrap really, really tight. And just keep going round using all your string. Work your way down. You can go way down if you want. The only thing I don't care for is the bump that this makes. I'm going to undo it. The bead could have been a bit bigger maybe. And then I just take and pull this through. Now you can cut this shorter piece off if you want. It's not going to go away anywhere. And that other one you can just work into it. You can pull it a little bit. Do what you want to do. And there's your tassel. So all you have to do now is to trim it. And there's your tassel. So once the other portion of our project is dry, we will attach this tassel, and we will attach a string on the top. I will make one right now. Just make this, and then you'll just put this through with a slip knot on the top. So that's for the top. I'll keep these for attaching the tassel, and I'll come back to you when it's time to do that. So there is your pretty tassel. I found this. I think this might have been in the bag that somebody gave me. It's really nice stuff. I was wondering what a pineapple would look like in this. Wouldn't that be pretty? And a tassel. And then another part of me was wondering how this would look with some sock yarn. I don't know what the fiber is. There's no writing in here. I imagine it's synthetic, but it might look kind of pretty with some working it into some sock yarn. I don't know. I might make another pineapple. So this turned out really nice. It's nicely starched now. It's not over starched. I probably could have had a little bit more glue in my starch, but I'm happy with it just the way it is. So now we're going to attach the tassel to the bottom of our piece here. What I'm going to do is just take a needle. I think I have a bigger needle here. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to take a needle, and I'm going to use the same crochet cotton as I did to make both pieces. And I'm just going to put the needle through two of the holes here, one on each side. I can get it through. There we go. Come on. I'm going to hold one. There we go, just like that. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in this hole right here. Oops, I was going to put it in that hole right there. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tie this. I'm going to give myself, actually I'm going to tie it first here. I don't want to see these two separate strings, so I'm going to tie it together. Put that knot right at the very bottom. So all you see is one string. Now, you see that, what I did? Now I'm going to tie another knot up here. I don't know, how much do I want it to hang down? I don't want it to hang down that much. Actually, if I was, yes, I am going to do that. I'm arguing with myself. Nobody wins when you argue with yourself, so I'm going to cut that off. Now, I'm going to thread that through that hole there. Your starched piece, if you use anything besides white, your starch piece will be a little bit darker than your tassel. It does darken a bit. You won't see it if you use a white piece, but because I didn't use white. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and open this up, and I'm going to put my tassel through here. All the way through, top and bottom. And I have it through, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this again, and I'm going to tie it right down here so that there's no drag on it. I want my tassel to be right up to my piece. So I'll just tie a good knot 2 or 3 times so it doesn't come undone. I don't think that's going to come undone. I'll just cut that off. And now we just need a piece to hang from the top. So I'm going to just do the same thing as I did. I'm going to tie a knot in here. I'm going to slip it through here. Like this, and I'm going to shorten it just by tying a different knot. And then I'll cut that off. And now it is ready to be hung in the window. And I'm going to hang this one in my studio window here where I can see it all the time, and I will be thinking of you all when I look at it. Now, the pattern for this, I did manage to get it on my blog. So I am going to be putting the link to the pattern for this on the bottom of this video, but it'll also be on the bottom of yesterday's video. And I will do a little community post about that so that, maybe I'll try and squeeze that statement onto the other video too. So I'm going to hang this up now, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get it in the window.